The Vise Versa is a relatively unknown knot, but it's a fantastic knot for joining dissimilar lines, things in bungee cord, slippery line like monofilament, or anything like that. It holds very well. Henry Asher, while going through all the different permutations of the sheet bend, came up with this. It's actually only in about 3 books that I know of. One called A New System of Knot Tying from 1986, the Alternative Knot Book from 1989, and another book called Everyday Knots for Fishermen, Boaters, Climbing, Crafters, and Household Use by Jeffrey Budworth from, I believe, the 90s. So it's fairly unknown, but I've been using it for about the last 2 years and I've been quite pleased with it. So let's take a look. Right now I'm using 2 pretty similar, if not exact size, same pieces of cordage. Let's take a look at that. We're going to start by taking our loose end and coming behind itself. Show you that again real quick. Taking our loose end, forming a loop, and coming behind itself. Next, we take our other tag end, go down through the hole, and this is important. You want to go down through it. You're going to have to leave a good amount of room here, maybe a couple of inches. Depends how much you have to work, which line you have to work with or how thick it is. So you want to go down through the hole. Now, I'm going to kind of cover this up for a second and hold everything with my right hand. And I want to go on top of itself and back around. See if I can't show you that. Hold it down. Now what I want to do is just bring that up on top of itself. And this is where you can kind of adjust the loops to be equal size and so that they come out even. Sometimes I'm a little anal about that type thing. I won't worry about that right now. So now we have 2 loops. Looks like almost little eyeglasses. Now we're going to come behind the black line and out through the loop. Again, making sure that the first one went down through the loop and the second one comes up behind so that both of them are on top of the loop. Now, simply take your other tag end and pass it behind the second loop. So now you've got kind of a pretzel shape, but has a similar curvature to the sheet bend and even has a couple crossing points somewhat similar. Again, this is a knot you're going to want to hand tighten as much as possible first. It tightens down quite well. It's almost like 2 bowlines or 2 sheet bends connected to each other. So you can see with the contrasting line how it just goes through and follows itself, but also crisscrosses and hitches over itself and becomes just a really good line. It does a good job of keeping the working part of the rope centered, which I usually find to be an important thing. I would think. I have no actual reference for that or anything, but it would make sense that if this line, the 2 ropes are as even as possible, it's going to be less breakage and such. This knot also has a low breakage rate for the rope. Because remember, anytime you put a knot in a piece of rope, you're decreasing the breaking strength. You're putting stress on the outside jacket, it's putting different curves or kinks in it, and it definitely affects the rope. And each knot has its own breaking strength. So that works quite well for that. So let's look at 2 dissimilar pieces of line. And again, to undo this, you can usually just bend it over backwards to break the release. And grab the 2 top cross pieces. Just pull apart. Go ahead and take a look at that again one more time. It's kind of a goofy knot. So we take one end, come back behind itself to form a loop. With the other tag end, go down through the loop. Now making sure to go around the other standing end to form another loop and come back up. Now you go behind the black line and out through its loop, making sure to come out so that these 2 are on the same side of the loop. And now just go ahead and pass this behind to the second loop. Again, you'll have a nice kind of pretzel looking shape. And once you get that real nice and tight, the thing gets nice and solid, but still easy to undo. Doesn't torque out of shape or anything like that. So it works quite well. Let's look at it with two dissimilar pieces of line. It's a standard piece of paracord. Again, coming from behind. Come up through the loop. Oh, see, I messed up. Down through the loop. It's easy to just kind of hold everything in place at this point. Now again, it would be a little bit easier if this was actually attached to something or had a little bit of strain on it. So that's down through the loop. Back around. And up. So I can't show that. Now behind itself. And up through the loop. Now, back through that loop. You can see it looks kind of goofy. Now this might be about the extent and the lowest diameter I would use with a line this thick. Because even though it tightens down nicely and holds and has no problem, you certainly want to have much of a working load on this, I would think. But again, that still tightens down quite nice. Ends up looking a lot different, but it still keeps the working end of the line straight with itself. And it's even easier to undo, obviously, when there hasn't been much strain on it or using two dissimilar pieces of cordage. This works great with bungee cord, monofilament, you know, real small, slippery kind of stuff. Works quite well. So it's a good knot, the Vise Versa. Actually, let's go ahead and show you that in bungee real quick. So now these two are pretty close in diameter. The bungee is a little bit smaller than the paracord, but definitely close enough. So I'm going to come up from behind, make a loop, down through the hole, holding it all in place with your right hand, go back around itself, around the other standing end. So again, you've got kind of a little two-loop kind of eyeglasses looking. We'll come behind the blue one and up out of the loop, making sure that your two ends are on the same side of the loop. And again, just pass this one back through the other loop. And this is where it just works fantastic for bungee cord. You can see that tightens down really nice, no slippage, nothing. So this I've been using this for a couple years now, and I've been quite pleased with it. So, hope you guys get some use out of that one.